Let me go find something to use for offering." Going over to the side of the brook, he selected several large twigs of willow and picked up some egg-shaped pebbles, which he brought back to the graveside. The willow twigs were planted on both sides, and the pebbles were placed in a pile in front. "What do you mean by this?" asked Pilgrim. "We can pretend that these twigs are pines and cypresses," replied 8 Rules. "So that Master will have a bit of shade on top. The pebbles may be taken as pastries, so that Master will enjoy a small offering." "Coolly," snapped Pilgrim. "The man's dead. And you still want to offer him pebbles?" 8 Rules said. "Mere sentiment of the living. To show our filial feeling. Let's stop this horseplay," said Pilgrim. "Sha Monk can remain here to guard the grave, the horse, and the luggage. You and I will go and tear down the cave dwelling. When we capture the fiendish demon, we'll cut him into 10,000 pieces to avenge our master." "What elder brother says is perfectly right," said Sha Monk, still shedding tears. "The 2 of you should put your hearts to this. I'll stand guard here." Marvelous 8 Rules. He took off his black silk shirt and tightened his undergarment before lifting his rake high to follow Pilgrim. Striding forward, the 2 of them, without waiting for further discussion, smashed down the stone door. "Give us back a living Tang monk," they thundered so loudly that the heavens shook. Those various fiends inside the cave, old and young, were so terrified that they all cast their blame on the vanguard as the old fiend asked him, "These monks have smashed their way inside our door. What shall we do?" The vanguard replied, "The ancients have put the matter well. Put your hand in the fish basket, and you can't avoid the stink. Never retreat once you start something. Let's call up the left and right commanders to lead our soldiers out to slaughter those monks." As he had no better plan than what he heard, the old fiend thereupon gave the order, "Little ones, be of one mind and pick up your best weapons. Follow me out to battle." With a roar, they stormed out of the cave. Our great sage and 8 Rules quickly retreated a few steps down to a level spot in the mountain. As they faced the various fiends, they shouted, "Who is the leader who has a name? Who is the fiend who has captured our master?" The various fiends pitched camp immediately and unfurled an embroidered floral banner. Grasping an iron club, the old fiend answered the call in a loud voice, saying, "Brazen monk, don't you recognize me? I am the great king of South Mountain, and I have held this place in my sway for several centuries. I've captured and devoured your Tang monk. What do you propose to do about that, you audacious hairy clod?" scolded Pilgrim. "How many years have you lived that you dare assume the title South Mountain? Old Lord Li happens to be the patriarch of creation, but he still sits to the right of supreme purity. The Buddha Tathagata is the honored one who governs the world, and yet he still sits beneath the great rock. Kong the sage is the founder of Confucianism, but he assumes the mere title of master. And you, accursed beast, dare call yourself some great king of South Mountain, holding this place in your sway. Don't try to escape. Have a taste of your grandfather's rod." Stepping aside to dodge the blow, the monster spirit wielded his club to parry the iron rod and said, his eyes glowering, "Your features are those of an ape, and yet you dare insult me with so many words. What abilities do you have that you dare behave in such a rowdy manner in front of my door? You nameless cursed beast," said Pilgrim, laughing. "Of course, you don't know anything of Old Monkey. Stand still, be brave, and listen to my recital. At Purvavidiha, my ancestral home, through thousands of years conceived of heaven and earth, one stone egg immortal on Mount Flower Fruit did break and beget me, its progeny. By birth I thus was not of mortal stock. For sun and moon did this sage body forge. Myself, cultivated, was no small thing. Alert and keen, a great elixir source. Named the great sage, I lived among the clouds, and fought the stars, relying on my power. 10,000 gods could not approach me even. 'Twas easy to beat all planets of heaven. My fame was known in the world's every part. My wiles left a trail through the universe. By luck, I've now embraced the Buddhist faith, to help an elder on his westward way. No one blocks the path I open on the mount. Though fiends worry when I build a bridge, I'll seize the forest tigers with my might. My hands will tame leopards before the cliff. The east's ripe fruit is coming to the west. Which monstrous deviate dares show his head? Since you, cursed beast, dare my master devour, your life will surely perish within this hour. Alarmed and angered by these words, the fiend clenched his teeth, leapt forward, and struck out at Pilgrim with his iron club. Casually parrying the blow with his rod, Pilgrim wanted to talk some more with him, but our 8 rules could not hold back any longer. He lifted his rake and madly attacked the vanguard of the fiend, who met him head-on with the other monsters. This was some brawl on the mountain meadow, truly a marvelous battle. A priest from an eastern superior state went seeking true scriptures from the blissful west. The south mount's great leopard belched wind and mist, and blocked the path, showing alone his might. With a clever plan and a wily scheme, he bagged in ignorance the great Tang monk. He met then the pilgrim of vast magic power, and 8 rules also of great renown. When fiends on the mountain meadow fought, dust and dirt flew up to bedim the sky. Little fiends shouted over there, madly raising their swords and spears. Divine monks bellowed over here, lifting up both rake and rod. The great sage was a hero without match. Wunan was both stalwart and strong in years. The South Mountain old fiend, and his subject, the vanguard, all because of the Tang monk's one piece of flesh, had quite forgotten the fear of life or death. These two turned hostile for their master's sake. Those two grew violent, desiring the Tang monk. Back and forth they battled for quite a while. Clashing and bumping, they fought to a draw. When the great sage soon saw how ferocious those little fiends were, how they refused to step back even when they were repeatedly attacked, he resorted to his magic of body division. Ripping out a bunch of his own hairs, he chewed them to pieces before spitting them out, crying, "Change!" At once they all assumed his appearance, each wielding a golden hooped rod, and began to push in from the front line of the battle. Those 100 or 200 little fiends found it difficult, of course, to look after both their front and their rear. Parrying the blows from the left, they could not attend to those coming from their right, and so all of them fled for their lives and retreated to the cave. As our pilgrim and 8 rules also fought their way out from the center of the battle, pity those monster spirits who did not know any better. Those running into the rake received 9 bleeding holes, while those hugged by the rod had their bones and flesh turned into putwai. That great king of South Mountain was so terrified that he fled for his life by mounting fog and wind. The vanguard, however, could not transform, and he was struck down by one blow of Pilgrim's rod. His original form emerged as an iron-backed gray wolf. Dragging him closer and flipping him over for another look, 8 rules said, "I wonder how many piglets and lambkins this fellow has stolen from people and eaten since his youth." With one shake of his body, Pilgrim retrieved his hair, saying, "Idiot, we must not delay. Let's chase down the old fiend quickly and ask him to pay for master's life." When he turned his head and did not see those little pilgrims, 8 rules said, "The magic forms of elder brother have all disappeared. I've retrieved them," said Pilgrim. "Marvelous! Marvelous!" said 8 rules, and the 2 of them returned in delight and triumph. We tell you now about that old fiend, who, when he fled back into his cave with his life, ordered the little fiends to move boulders and pull mud to the front door. Trembling all over, those fiends who managed to save their lives did indeed barricade the door and dared not show their heads at all. When our pilgrim led 8 rules to chase up to the front door, their shouts brought no answer from within, and when 8 rules used his rake to strike at the barrier of mud, he could not budge it one whit. Realizing what had happened, Pilgrim said, 8 rules, don't waste your strength. They have barricaded the door. In that case, said 8 rules, how shall we avenge our master? Let's go back to the grave to see how Sha Monk's doing, said Pilgrim. The two of them went back to the site and found Sha Monk still weeping. Ever more grief-stricken, 8 rules abandoned his rake and flung himself on the grave. As he pounded the dirt with his hands, he wailed, "Oh ill-fated master! Oh far-removed master! Where shall I ever get to see you again? Brother, please calm your sorrow," said Pilgrim. "If this monster spirit has his front door stopped up, there must be a back door for him to go in and out. The two of you remain here, and let me go back to have another look around. Oh elder brother," said 8 rules, shedding tears. "Do be careful. If they manage to grab even you, it'll be difficult for us to weep. A sob for master and a sob for elder brother, we'll be all confused." "Don't worry," replied Pilgrim. "I'll be able to take care of myself, dear great sage." Putting away his rod and tightening his skirt, he went past the mountain slope and immediately heard the sound of gurgling water. He saw, turning his head, that it came from a brook tumbling down from the peak. Then he discovered a little entrance on the other side of the brook, to the left of which there seemed to be a drainage sewer. "It goes without saying," he thought to himself, "that this must be the back door."